to this beautiful session and this amazing program. I am so excited and I'm so gassed to be talking to everyone who is watching, wherever you're watching from, however you're watching, whenever you stumble on this video. I am so excited to be talking to you. I am very passionate about talking to young people because it feels like I'm talking to myself. It feels like talking to my older self or my younger self, regardless of the demographic of young people I'm talking to. That's why I'm like really excited to speak here today. As you already know, this program is centered around empowerment for a sustainable future for the youth. And I am particularly going to be talking about the role of gender equality in youth empowerment. Gender equality is a subject that I am so passionate to speak on anywhere, anytime, any place that I find myself. I am really always so excited to speak on gender equality. Everyone who knows me knows that I'm a gender equality warrior. I will literally always speak on gender equality because it's something that is very passionate to me, very dear to me too. It's a subject that I like to talk on, and it's such an opportunity and it's such a privilege that I am before everyone here today talking about gender equality. So before we even touch on anything gender equality, let's quickly talk on youth empowerment. We have to understand what youth empowerment is as a subject before even talking on gender equality. So youth empowerment is like a process or a bunch of procedures that are like put in place for young people to take charge of their lives. The day you decide to take charge of your life as a young person, that is the first step to being an empowered youth. A lot of young people who exist in our society today are currently not taking charge of their lives. They are literally living and flowing with the tide. And as an empowered youth, taking charge of your life is very key, very staple, very important, and has a lot of positive effects. But it doesn't just start and stop with taking charge of your life. So youth empowerment goes beyond that. Youth empowerment is basically the point a young person, a youth, decides to take charge of their lives, addressing the situation, addressing whatever situation they find themselves, and taking positive steps in order to gain access to resources that transform their consciousness. Your consciousness is basically the reality, the status quo of the reality you're living in. And as a young person, taking those conscious steps in order to transform your consciousness, transform your status quo, your mentality, is like the biggest empowerment you can ever give yourself. It's the ability to do things that the you of now will look at you 2 years later and be proud and be in awe at the girl you've become, at the woman you've become, at the man you've become. And now I feel like there are certain steps to being an empowered youth. I'm going to touch briefly on that before we just go right into like the subject of the day, which is gender equality. A young person, one of the key steps to becoming an empowered youth is educating yourself or learning a skill. Now, growing up, I'm going to tell you guys a little story. It's not even a story. Growing up, I had this when I was in secondary school, I had this long note, the notes we call long notes, and it had on it written learning never ends. It was like written horizontally. And I remember my dad used to talk to me and my siblings so much about how learning never ends. I am so proud to be the child of somebody who is big on learning. My parents were my first teachers, and they never stopped teaching me, and they've never stopped teaching me. Being younger, my parents emphasized so much on the need for being an educated person, and not just by going to school. Being an educated person, always being hungry to educate yourself. The first step to being an empowered youth is honestly educating yourself, whether it is going to school, learning a skill, upping your skills, upping your education, reading, online courses, journaling, whatever. Education for a young person who wants to empower themselves is a non-negotiable cost. You cannot not want to be educated and want to be empowered. So educate yourself, learn a skill. Brings me to the second point: reinvent yourself. Whatever it is you're coming from does not mean that is who you are. That doesn't mean that's who you're going to be. That doesn't mean that's how you're going to end. So you have to make the conscious steps to reinvent yourself. So I have a beautiful piece in my bedroom that I hung up on my wall. It says, visualize your highest self and start showing up as her. And that's like a staple statement that I live by every day. So I know who I want to be in the future. I know what I am working towards being. I know what my higher self what I fantasize her to look like, and I visualize myself as her every day, and I try to show up as her. Now, that is the highest form of reinvention. That's the easiest way to reinvent yourself. Visualizing who you expect yourself to be and showing up as that girl, showing up as that boy, showing up as that woman every day, having that mentality every other day. Also, another way the youth can empower themselves is identifying the problem. Whatever the problem is, whatever the situation is, for whatever reason, you're deciding to empower yourself, identifying that problem and working towards being an empowered youth, working towards being better, working towards getting information that help you, working towards for whatever you've identified that you're working towards being a better version of, that is the problem. So you have to identify the problem and work towards eradicating the problem. Lastly, you have to make the move. So whatever the move is, being whether it's leaving your negative environment, leaving a toxic relationship, moving out of your parents' house, going to school, learning a skill, whatever the move is, you have to make the move. Now, these points I've listed are like the general ways that I believe that youths can empower themselves. But for the sake of the subject that I am touching today, which is all of gender equality in youth empowerment, I'm just going to go into that in a more in-depth way. Now, in order to build a better world, I strongly believe that we need to address the role of gender equality in the society. We need to address the problem of gender inequality in the society at an early age, at the earliest age. You'll be lying if you say you don't know that there is gender inequality in the society. No matter how sensitive and rattled up this conversation makes you, there's gender inequality in our society. It's very dominant, especially in like African societies. And that is why you have programs like these, like the one you're watching right now, that like the one you're watching me speak on, where we address conversations like this. We talk about an empowered youth. We're not talking about an empowered man alone. We're also talking about an empowered woman. And this is in no way trying to like bash men. We do not do that over here. We do not have those kind of conversations over here. This program aims to empower the youth regardless of your gender, whether you're male or female, but I'm particularly speaking on gender inequality. Now, someone who is watching me somewhere probably feels like I'm talking about gender equality as a woman not being submissive. Nobody cares about the fact that you and your girlfriend have to split bills, or you and your wife have to split bills. That is not gender equality. Gender equality doesn't take the woman's place in the home and give to the man, and takes the man's place and give to the woman. Gender equality does not fight submission in a home. Gender equality does not raise women who are not submissive to their fathers or to their partners or whatever. Gender equality aims at a woman who has a voice. A woman who doesn't see herself as less of a person because of her gender. A woman who can take up spaces, who can walk in the room and own it, who can go after her dreams and aspirations without feeling like she's limited because of the gender she came to the world in. Like I said earlier, we can't throw a blind eye to the fact that gender inequality is a thing in our present society. And we have to teach our children, we have to teach the young people as early as they come about the importance of gender equality. I have like 5 bullet points on gender equality, and I'm just going to briefly speak on them. First thing, gender equality increases a woman's sense of self-worth. When you know you're that girl, when you know that you can step into a room and take up space without anybody trying to shut you down, anybody trying to shut you up because you're a woman, increases your self-worth. The day a youth begins to see themselves as worthy, that's like one of the fastest way for youth to become empowered, because you know you're worthy of everything you want to be. You know you're worthy of everything you deserve. What's more beautiful than that? What empowerment is bigger than that? Gender equality increases a woman's sense of self-worth. It comes from within. She begins to see herself as worthy. And I feel like as educated people, as empowered youths, as educated youths, we have to preach the gospel of gender equality. Like I said, gender equality does not aim at telling you to not be a wife to your husband, or not to submit, or that is not what we do over here. We don't talk about that over here, okay? Brings me to my second point. Gender equality being incorporated in our modern day society today is going to increase a woman's access to opportunities and resources. Let me shock you. There are women, I don't think it will even come as a shock to you, but there are women who cannot go to school right now in 2023 in today's society. Let me not even go far. In Nigeria, there are women who can't go to school. They are raised to believe that, oh, you learn how to cook, learn how to be a good wife, and upon learning these things, somebody's going to come and marry you. And yeah, there are women who their parents still used to pay debt in 2023. Their mother or their father is owing one person somewhere, and then they'll marry her off to the person to clear the debt. There are a lot of these crazy things going on. And as much as it sounds like I'm narrating a movie to you here by mentioning these things are actually happening. It's a society where we incorporate gender equality means that if the male child is going to go to school, the female child is going to go to school as well. And then obviously I spoke on education when I started. Education changes your entire dynamics to life. So even if these women grow up feeling like, oh yeah, um I'm a woman, I should naturally have less opportunities. By being educated, it changes the dynamic to things, and it increases her access to opportunities and resources. So those positions, those offices, those decisions that a man can make in the society, a woman can make it. I'm a strong believer of the fact that there is no decision you tell me that is peculiar to men. Oh, it's better for a man to be a leader, it's better for a man to be this, it's better for a man to be that, and a woman cannot be that. Gender equality being incorporated, being woven into our society today is going to give a lot of women, including myself, including you who is watching this video, including your daughters to come, your daughters present, your generation to come, is going to give them a good access to opportunities and to resources that help them self-develop and help them become empowered youths in the society at large. Brings me to my third point. Gender equality in the society is also going to increase a woman's decision-making power. Like I was saying earlier, because of the level of gender inequality we have, there are a lot of women who grow up feeling inferior. Oh, like, let me just, I can't do this because I'm a woman. I can't, let me not do too much. Let me not be too loud. Let me not be too opinionated. It is happening. It has become normal in today's society. And as educated people that we are, as empowered youths that I believe we all are, if we understand the role of gender equality in the society, it's going to help the average woman make better decisions. She's going to make decisions without fear of failure, without fear of the future. She's going to become a more opinionated woman. And I strongly don't believe that an opinionated woman is, you know, people make opinionated women look like they are horrible. The moment you start feeling like opinionated women are horrible, actually you have to start checking yourself, especially if you feel like it has something to do with her gender. You actually have to start checking yourself. It's also going to affect her power and control over her own life inside and outside her home. And let me tell you what I mean. You know how like men love like submissive women, which is actually beautiful. Men love like women who submit to them in like marriage and all. I mean submission, I don't mean slavery. Try to understand the difference between these two concepts. So men love like women who submit to them in marriage and all. Let me tell you something. You can't buy submission, you can't force submission. When you give a woman, when you adore a woman, when you make her understand that she has her own power, when you make a woman understand that she is an entity herself that deserves to be respected, I promise you, in situations like marriages and relationships, she's going to be very super submissive. At that point, you won't even have to ask for the submission. Like, she's going to massage your ego because she knows that her role as a woman is enough. She knows that she is enough. She knows that she is not being subdued or she's not being forced to submit. That way, that woman is going to honor you. That woman is going to be the most submissive person. And then it gives, like I said, it gives her power. It gives her power and control over her own life. She can make decisions that help her become better. She can make decisions that help her become healthier. She can make decisions that help her stay saner. You understand? Both in her home, both outside her home. Imagine a woman who is loved, honored, respected, and adored by the person she spends every day with, which is her partner, being in the society. She won't feel the need to be intimidated because the man I'm coming out from the house with makes me feel like I'm worthy. So who are you people? So you can see that gender equality should start from the little fragment of the society, which is number one, the family. If things like this happen, I promise you, it's going to go a long way in bettering our society. I'm telling you this not because gender inequality is the only problem we have in the society, but it's one of the major problems. It's one of the biggest problems. You look at the House of Reps or the Senate, you can count on one finger the number of women you see there. And this has gone on and on and on and on for years. And to show you that gender inequality is actually thriving in our society today. So in the little ways you can, try your best to incorporate these things you're hearing today. Try your best to practice these things we are preaching today. Be it in your little classrooms, be it in your families, be it in your workspaces. Try your best to understand that a woman is enough. And this does not take away your place as a man. And the day you understand that you are also enough as a man, you know how to treat a woman as being enough. You know how to give her the voice she deserves. You know how to give her the opportunities that she deserves. Thank you so, so much. We're talking about empowerment right now, yeah? A woman who is empowered to understand that she is worthy and she is enough is going to be able to effect the change that we are looking for in the society. I'm not saying the change is only for women to effect, don't get me wrong, but she's going to be able to effect the change expected of her in the society because she knows that without fear of failure, without fear of condemnation, she can play her role in the society. She can effect the change that she is supposed to effect. Everybody has their roles in the society, whether as a man, a woman, a boy, or a girl. Everybody has their roles in the society. And we're talking about empowerment today, and we should understand that empowerment is not just when you learn a skill or when you're sent to school. Empowerment is also those things that have those norms, those negative norms that have come to stay in the society. When we begin to understand that these things are not normal, these things are not supposed to be like that. We're coming from a time where there were women who were not even who had to take permissions to open bank accounts for themselves. There were women who it's normal in the family if it's time to send somebody to school, everybody knows that it's the male child that has to go to school. And I want to applaud our society because we have actually evolved. Little ways you can, try your best to incorporate these things you're hearing today. Try your best to practice these things we are preaching today. Be it in your little classrooms, be it in your families, be it in your workspaces. Try your best to understand that a woman is enough. And this does not take away your place as a man. And the day you understand that you are also enough as a man, you know how to treat a woman as being enough. You know how to give her the voice she deserves. You know how to give her the opportunities that she deserves. For whatever reasons you decided to tune into this video, for whatever reasons you decided to be in this program, I'm sure you're watching it from a perspective of wanting to empower. Please take this point seriously. Conversations like this don't come by every day, and we should appreciate the little time that we spend to hear these things, to talk about these things, or make awareness about these things. I want to say thank you to everyone who has stayed to this time. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I hope you stay empowered. My name is Marcia, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.